Are you worried that something like this will definitely happen when you receive the used cars you've imported? Especially since the condition of export cars can only be verified through photos or videos. It can be deceived, and there are too many exporters like this. You may have also had the experience of feeling upset when a car in bad condition arrived. So, how thoroughly are the vehicles exported by Sandbag Auto inspected? Today, we will show you the real performance inspection process conducted at the Nationally Certified Performance Inspection Center with Sandbag Auto. Hello, this is Jace from Sandbag Auto. Today, I will inform you about the part of the export process that involves vehicle accidents and inspections. Now we need to carefully check whether the exterior has been replaced, if there has been any gold plating, welding, or if the filler lines in the line area have been cut. First, we check whether screws inside have been loosened or not. We check if there have been any replacements, and since issues like gold plating can be problematic for exports, we use a coating thickness gauge to meticulously check each one. In my case, I use this part, and when there is an accident in a small area, sometimes only that part is gold welded. So I use a magnetic pen to meticulously check these parts in detail. Now, if you look inside, you will check whether the rubber packing on these lines, which can form the framework, has been removed and cut to see if welding has been done inside, whether the spots are intact or not, and whether there has been any accident or impact on the framework. The rear fender area needs to be examined very carefully because the frame is attached overall. I check each part with a pen and a coating thickness gauge. I check and confirm the measurements. I meticulously check inside to see if there are any areas where the rubber packing has been removed and welding has been done. I check whether the spot welds are intact or if there is welding inside to determine if there has been an accident. As I mentioned earlier, the parts that can be assembled are secured with screws inside. I check whether the screws have been loosened, and if they have, I verify whether they have been replaced. When measuring the paint thickness, if the readings exceed high values like 400, 500, 600, or 700, it can be confirmed that there might have been an accident even if the parts were not replaced, as a gold paint job might have been done. Let's check if there are any issues with the vehicle using a diagnostic tool. Press the vehicle diagnostic button and proceed to a detailed and precise diagnosis. Once the percentage reaches 100%, any issues with the vehicle will be diagnosed and displayed. We check whether there are any significant issues with that part and then proceed to purchase the vehicle. It varies depending on the vehicle, but for newer models, since there are so many systems inside, it takes a bit more time to check. On the other hand, slightly older cars can be processed more quickly. For all vehicles, everything from the electronic systems to airbags, engines, all transmissions, and all internal computer devices is fully checked. If you look, the diagnostic data and time, as well as the fault codes, show that everything is normal and there are no issues. This car has been diagnosed as having no problematic areas at all. The issues related to faults are displayed like this. When everything is normal, it appears like this. When there is an issue, a fault code appears. Inspection needed. It will indicate something like there is an issue with cylinder number 7. In this engine section, there are multiple cylinders attached, like number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. If there is an issue with cylinder number 7, it will indicate an evaporative gas problem. These parts should be checked at a repair shop or through a detailed inspection to determine what the issue is. It needs to be checked. For older vehicles with high mileage, there are naturally quite a few parts that might have issues. However, if a critical issue or fault code related to the engine appears, it is important to undergo a detailed inspection to identify the problem and determine whether the vehicle is suitable for purchase. As you saw earlier, the first step is to check on site if there are any issues with the vehicle. This vehicle is then taken to a certified used car performance inspection center for a more detailed examination to check for any problems. The performance inspector is a veteran who has thoroughly studied the vehicle and conducts the performance inspection properly. They will inspect where parts of the vehicle are replaced, which areas are repaired, if welding is done, and if there are frame structure accidents. And now, they check for corrosion on the lower body that might not be visible on sight, as well as any oil leaks and illegal modifications like exhaust or muffler tuning. They also inspect for leaks in the oil pan area and examine the constant velocity joints, stabilizer links, and cross-member body in the lower body more thoroughly and precisely. This is thoroughly reviewed at a certified performance inspection center, and we provide the vehicle to buyers or customers overseas. Now, after going down and checking the performance, a performance report like this is issued. I will explain in detail which parts of the performance report are important, where there might be issues, and any additional areas at the back that need further inspection, aside from the vehicle photos shown at the front. First, after checking the vehicle's performance, it is issued as a performance report like this. Now, if you look here, it says 4. It is written as the National Automobile Performance Evaluation Association. So, after inspecting the vehicle at the Performance Center we visited earlier and checking the areas with issues, it is issued as a performance report like this. If you look now, you can see the vehicle name, vehicle registration number, and here you can see options like gasoline, diesel, LPG, hybrid, electric, hydrogen, and others. This vehicle is gasoline, and if you look now, you will see symbols that record the current mileage and accident information. If you look, the symbols are divided as follows: X for replacement, W for welding, C for corrosion, A for scratches, U for wear, and T for damage. In the case of this vehicle, if you look, it shows that replacement and welding were done on the right side, from the rear fender to the 2 doors. If you look, the vehicle's markings are divided into numbers like 6, 3, 8, and 2, and so on. This vehicle has had the rear fender and rear door replaced, and the front part has been gold-plated. And if you look here, it details whether there are any leaks or minor leaks in parts like the fuel system, engine, transmission, and other engine components, such as the cylinder, cover, gasket, head, block, and oil pan. This thorough check allows consumers to easily identify these issues visually. The most important point is that sometimes, even in this performance center, they don't check this part and just write it down verbally. Therefore, you must thoroughly check the content written by the performance inspector. Then, for example, the front fender is marked as replaced, but there's an ambiguous part, so it says the front fender was adjusted due to impact. There are things written like this. Therefore, if there are other parts, like the cross member being replaced or adjusted, or issues with other underbody parts, and if a W should be marked, but instead it's marked with a gold symbol, it's best to check the inspector's notes carefully. First of all, since we've completed the overall performance inspection here, we have a place called a yard in export terms, which is our garage in Songdo. Let's move over there. This is the Sambok Auto Garage. After we purchase all the vehicles and complete the performance inspection, they are transported here, gathered together, then sent to the shoring area for checking, and finally loaded into containers to complete the process.